to help the people of Nairobi, and this is coming 2 weeks after people have been moved from their houses, after their houses have been washed away. I was extremely disappointed, Honorable Speaker, that instead of coming and addressing the people of Mathare about what the government has already done, the head of state was talking about things that he's going to do. Where does he think these people have been living for the past 2 weeks? Mr. Speaker, this rain in Nairobi started...
What is the point of order, Senator Fernandez?
Mr. Speaker, I rise under fourth schedule on devolved functions, and also section 148 of the Public Finance Management Act. Is it standing order number 1 and 105, if you want the standing orders? Mr. Speaker, is it in order for my brother Senator Edwin Sifuna to mislead the House, yet issues of disaster and emergency under the budgeting process by the PMF Act, at least 2% of that money should be allocated fighting disasters, Mr. Speaker? The point I'm trying to make is that the issue of handling disaster preparedness is not an exclusive function of national government. What Senator Sifuna should be telling the nation is what is the Nairobi City County government has done in Mathare before
Senator Gloria, we do not allow understanding orders for choruses in this House. Conclude.
Mr. Speaker, in fact, the national government only come to supplement, Mr. Speaker. So is it in order what Senator Sifuna should be telling the nation, what have they done as a county government to address the challenges while we sympathize and empathize with the people who have been affected in this city? What have they done as Nairobi City County on their 2%? And Mr. Speaker, sir, it is money that is allocated under the county revenue, Mr. Speaker. And for the information of the House, the governor of Nairobi said national government has given support to a tune of 500 million, Mr. Speaker. So you cannot allow Senator Sifuna to get away with misinformation and misleading the country, Mr. Speaker. He should be ruled out of order.
Senator Sifuna, if I got you correctly, you indicated that the head of state came to Mathare 2 weeks after the floods had ravaged the area. And instead of coming to say what the national government had done, he came to state what his government was going to do. Taking it from where the Senator Fernandez has said, that under Schedule 4 of our Constitution, that particular function fairly falls within the county government. Would you still want to pursue that line? Or?
I will absolutely insist on that line, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, if you protect me from these frivolous points of order, I was actually going to tell you what the county government has done. But I was expressing my disappointment. Mr. Speaker, this rain in Nairobi started beating us seriously on the 20th of April. By the 24th of April, we, the leadership of Nairobi, were calling for the national government to declare this a national disaster because our own county was overwhelmed. I hear people parroting about 2% of the resources of the county being directed to the disaster account. It's not as if county governments receive all the money that is allocated to them by this House and then separate 2% and put it in the account. As we speak right now, if you are a serious person who follows devolution, you know that the county governments have not received money since January. The equitable share of county governments has not reached the counties by from January. So, Mr. Speaker, when you hear somebody saying talk about 2%, 2% of what? You should talk about 2% of money that you have put in the accounts of the county governments. Mr. Speaker, my disappointment is in the fact that from the 24th of this month, of last month, people have been sleeping outside. Then you come and tell us that you're going to give 10,000 shillings to the affected households. We have lost over 10,000 households, Mr. Speaker. Where do you think these people have been sleeping? That is my disappointment, and I want to dissuade Honorable Mungatana. Don't wait for Ruto's money. It's not coming for your people. Mr. Speaker, as I speak right now as a senator of Nairobi, I can confirm that no money has reached the people of Nairobi from the national government. So don't tell us about 2%.
Senator for Nairobi, in this House we use parliamentary language. If you're referring to a colleague, you refer to them as honorable senator. If you're referring to the president, you refer him as His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya. we do not have a Mr. Ruto. So kindly abide.
I want to advise.
I thought you had concluded.
Yes,
Senator.
let me make the
Then
correction
take your
you
seat.
asked me to make.
Okay,
I want
proceed.
to ask the Honorable Senator for Tana River, the very able Danson Mungatana, do not wait for President Ruto's money. It is not coming. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Chelagei.
Mr. Speaker, I want to make a comment on Senator Muma. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the national government for supplementing what the default function is. I know you being a former governor, you know disaster management, disaster response, fire is, and you are a distinguished lawyer in this republic, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to call upon county governments. I have seen even your county, some floods have started happening. That the 2% of the total of county revenue should be allocated. It is under the law. Whether the national government releases the money today or even in January, Mr. Speaker, they must allocate, because that's what the budget is all about, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the President, because despite this being a devolved function, Mr. Speaker, he promised that Kenyans will be given 10,000 shillings as a way of alleviating, Mr. Speaker. The Council of Governors should tell this nation, individual governors of Kitui, of Siaya, of Nandi, of Vihiga should be telling the country what did they do with the 2% that they were supposed to manage disaster in this republic, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to say
Order, Senator Fernandi. What is your point of order, Senator for Homabay?
Mr. Speaker, the distinguished senator from Nandi, who was the powerful chair of Justice and Legal Affairs Committee, has obviously not read the Constitution. Mr. Speaker, is a senator in order to mislead this House that disaster management is a function of county governments and that the national government can only come in to assist, when in the 4th schedule of the Constitution, the functions assigned to the national government, function number 24, is disaster management. And Mr. Speaker, where a function is shared between national and county, then the national government takes the lead, sets the policy, sets the structures for county governments to follow. And so, Mr. Speaker, my friend Senator Chelagei needs to go slow on county governments and turn his guns on the culprits, which is a national government that is obviously clueless in the midst of a disaster.
Senator Fernandi, get.
Mr. Speaker, I just want to do rebuttal in 30 seconds. When you read under 4th schedule, part 2 on county governments, and I invite function number 12, firefighting services and disaster management. Mr. Speaker, my chairman.
Order.
Senator
for Nairobi.
Mr. Speaker.
Senator for Nairobi. Senator for Nairobi.
Okay.
If the chair is speaking, you keep quiet.
My apologies.
Now, Senator for Nairobi, we are not going to degenerate into a shouting match. It's a house of order, so we must be orderly. Now, Senator Fernandi, you know that those functions that are a preserve of one level and that those functions that are shared. Disaster management is one of such functions as per our Constitution. So please be guided as you make your contribution.
Mr. Speaker, the reason we should introduce monthly mandamano on heckling for Senator Sifuna. Mr. Speaker, what I wanted to the point is...
Senator Fernandi,
yes, Mr.
proceed
Speaker.
to withdraw that particular statement.
Okay, I withdraw, but the point has been made. Mr. Speaker, what I wanted to say, Mr. Speaker, I withdraw and apologize.
Honorable Senators.
I withdraw and apologize, but the point has been made. Mr. Speaker, can I be protected? Can I
Senator Fernandi, would you wish to be informed by the Senator from Mombasa?
No. I am sufficiently informed, Mr. Speaker.
Then proceed.
You can see how I am prosecuting my points, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the notion I want to correct, while I agree that the issue of disaster management is concurrent function, my good brother, the chair of Public Accounts Committee, has been reading daily to governors about the 2% emergency fund. But when it comes before the floor of the Mr. Speaker, anaturuka. Mr. Speaker, the point I wanted to make, and I want to thank the President, and you heard the Governor of Nairobi yesterday, it is unanswered. He said national government has given in kind and in cash over 500 million to assist the people of Nairobi. We have the people of Nakuru, Mr. Speaker. We have the people that have been affected in Kilifi, Mr. Speaker. We must thank the national government and the President, His Excellency President William Ruto, for standing with the people. Mr. Speaker, he went even and prayed for the victims in Mayumai, where my sister, the Deputy Majority Leader, was there. He went to Mathare himself. Senator Sifuna has not even gone to Mathare, Mr. Speaker. He has not gone even Muguru kwa Njenga. There is Muguru kwa Ruben, Mr. Speaker.
Order, Senator.
He has never gone, Mr. Speaker. Then what can he tell us?
Senator Fernandi,
okay.
Please, take your seat. Now, Senator for Nairobi, you know, if you have a point of order, you know what to do. You need not shout. Okay? Senator Fernandi, conclude.
Mr. Speaker, in conclusion on the issue of
Let the
disaster,
senator conclude.
let me conclude on Senator Chute's, Mr. Speaker, in conclusion. As farmers, we are aware there are many herbicides and acaricides that have been banned in US. We have seen increased cases in Mandera, Marsabit, and even across the country. Mr. Speaker, when not Bayern Munich, Bayern AG, Syngenta, and herbicides, Mr. Speaker,
Senator Sifuna.